There's something profound about the way we engage with the media around us. In today's world, where streaming platforms are practically built to keep us watching for hours on end, there are those who resist the pull of endless episodes and cliffhangers. It might seem odd, considering how mainstream binge-watching has become, but for some, avoiding it is a deeply personal choice. It's not about discipline or a conscious effort to be different, but rather a fundamental desire for balance, control, and emotional clarity in a world that's often overwhelming. Binge-watching for many is a form of escape, a way to sink into a world where the drama never stops, where the next episode waits like a promise, ready to draw you in again. But for those who avoid it, there's an understanding that this kind of immersion comes with its own set of consequences. It's not so much about rejecting the enjoyment of a good show, but rather the feeling that too much of anything, even something as seemingly harmless as entertainment, can cloud the mind and dull the emotions. Take a moment to think about how a really intense show can make you feel. It pulls you in with its characters, its stories, its twists. The highs are exhilarating, but the lows can hit harder, lingering long after the screen goes dark. For some, that's simply too much. It's not just about what happens in the story, but how it affects them emotionally. Watching episode after episode can feel like an emotional roller coaster, one that doesn't allow time to breathe between the twists. The characters' struggles become your own. The high points feel too brief, and the low points leave a shadow. In this fast-paced world of non-stop content, there's a real emotional cost to continuously absorbing so much at once. It's easy to become saturated, to find yourself emotionally and mentally drained without even realizing it. On the other hand, there's something incredibly grounding about consuming content slowly, letting each episode sit with you for a while before moving on to the next. It's like taking a moment to digest your food, giving your brain the space it needs to process, to reflect, to savor what's happening on screen before rushing to the next moment. This isn't just about pacing yourself, it's about making the experience more meaningful. It's the difference between quickly consuming something and truly experiencing it. It's about feeling the weight of each narrative, letting it settle, and noticing the ways it shifts your thoughts and emotions. When we watch slowly, we give ourselves the time to reflect on what's been said, what's been shown, and how it fits into the bigger picture of our own lives. There's also something in us that craves control, the ability to say, "I'll watch this now, and maybe later I'll watch more," rather than being swept up in the current of endless recommendations. People who avoid binge-watching understand that the way media affects us goes beyond entertainment. It affects our mood, our focus, even our sleep. We all know the feeling of staying up way too late, finishing an entire season in one go, only to wake up the next day feeling exhausted and disconnected. That's the price of giving in to the constant barrage of content. And while it's easy to think we're in control, sometimes the algorithms that suggest the next episode or the next show are in the driver's seat, subtly pulling us along in a direction we didn't necessarily choose. For those who avoid binge-watching, there's a deep recognition of the need to protect their mental clarity. The choice to stop at one episode is more than just about managing time. It's about knowing when enough is enough, when the emotional and cognitive load has reached its limit. It's a form of self-care, an acknowledgement that taking breaks between episodes isn't a sign of weakness or lack of interest, but rather a way to maintain a healthy boundary between the fictional world on screen and the real world off-screen. There's a sense of freedom in not being driven by the immediate gratification of a next episode button. It's easy to get caught up in the dopamine rush that binge-watching provides, but there's a cost to that rush. The constant overstimulation can numb us, dull our emotional sensitivity, and make us forget how to engage with the world around us. It's the emotional equivalent of eating junk food. You might get a quick high, but it leaves you feeling empty and disconnected afterward. People who resist binge-watching recognize that they don't need to feed this craving for instant gratification. They understand that emotional and cognitive resets are necessary to maintain a balanced life, to avoid feeling overwhelmed by the flood of stimuli. For them, watching an episode or two at a time isn't about control for the sake of control. It's about mindfulness, about being fully present with what's unfolding on screen. It's not about ticking off episodes from a checklist or rushing to catch up with the latest trend.
The true pleasure comes from the act of slowing down and deeply engaging with the content, savoring each moment, each twist and turn of the plot.
It's about soaking in the details, appreciating the artistry and nuances that might be lost in a binge session. They're not concerned with how much they watch, but with how much they truly experience in the moment, immersing themselves in the emotional and intellectual currents of the show. They allow themselves to be touched by the highs and lows without feeling pressured to hurry through them. Every episode, every scene is a chance to reflect, to pause, and to absorb, not to rush toward the next dopamine hit. It's interesting then to think about the psychological manipulation built into the design of most streaming services. These platforms are experts in keeping you hooked, whether you realize it or not. The cliffhangers at the end of each episode, the seductive next episode countdown that appears almost immediately after the credits roll, the persistent notifications nudging you toward the next season, it's all crafted to keep your attention firmly locked in, to ensure you don't click away. For many, this seamless flow of content becomes less about entertainment and more about a constant pull, a subtle push to consume more and more and more. The feeling isn't one of personal choice, but of being driven by an unseen force, an algorithm designed to maximize engagement. This ongoing cycle of consumption might feel like a form of entertainment, but it can also feel like being coerced into surrendering more of your time, attention, and energy than you truly want. For those who avoid binge watching, the decision isn't just about resisting the content, it's about reclaiming autonomy, rejecting the manipulation of their attention. It's a way of taking control over their own media consumption, pushing back against the forces that try to dictate their behavior. This resistance isn't fueled by a desire to be contrary or rebellious. It's motivated by a deeper sense of self-determination. They want to engage with media on their own terms, without being driven by algorithms, cliffhangers, or the pressure to stay up to date with the latest trends. The ability to say no to the pull of endless episodes is a powerful form of autonomy, an assertion of control over what they allow to occupy their time and thoughts. And this brings us to one of the most poignant aspects of why they avoid binge watching: time. The reality of the finite nature of time is something that's hard to escape, and for these individuals, the awareness of how precious each moment is weighs heavily on their decision-making. We all have the same number of hours in a day, and once those hours are gone, they're gone forever. For people who choose to avoid binge watching, this realization hits home in a very personal way. The idea of spending hours in front of a screen, passively absorbing content, can feel unsettling, almost like a betrayal of the limited time we're given. Instead of letting those precious hours slip away into the digital void, they seek to spend their time intentionally, making choices that reflect their values and goals. This isn't about feeling guilty for watching TV. It's about knowing that time is a valuable commodity, one that should be spent with purpose. Whether it's pursuing a personal project, spending quality time with loved ones, or even just resting and recharging, they understand that each hour spent binge watching is an hour not spent living life fully, not experiencing the real, tangible moments that make up their world. In many ways, this approach to time is also tied to a broader perspective on life. For some, binge watching is less about enjoyment and more about escape. The content becomes a refuge, a way to disconnect from personal struggles, from overwhelming emotions, or from a world that feels too much to handle. But for those who avoid binge watching, there's a different mindset. They see the value in being present, in engaging with media in a way that doesn't serve as an emotional anesthetic, but as a means of connection and reflection. Watching slowly, deliberately, isn't about avoiding life's discomforts. It's about enriching one's life with meaningful experiences. It's about processing emotions in real time, rather than using media as a way to numb or escape. The idea is not to avoid discomfort, but to face it head-on, to use media as a tool for deeper engagement with oneself and the world, not as a distraction from it. The decision to avoid binge watching isn't about moral superiority, nor is it about judging others for the way they consume media. It's simply a personal choice, one rooted in self-awareness and a deep understanding of what works best for them. It's about recognizing that balance, emotional clarity, and intentionality matter more than the temporary highs of instant gratification.
In a world that constantly pulls us toward faster, more immediate consumption, resisting that pull becomes a form of self-preservation. It's a way of living intentionally, of taking ownership of how we spend our time and energy. It's not about denying oneself pleasure or entertainment, but about choosing a more mindful, measured approach, one that values quality over quantity and presence over distraction. For those who choose not to binge watch, the experience is not just about what they're missing out on by not consuming media at a fast pace. It's about what they're gaining by opting for a slower, more deliberate rhythm. They are reclaiming their time, their attention, and their sense of self. By resisting the constant pressure to consume more, they are choosing to live in a way that feels more authentic to who they are. It's not about being rebellious or trying to set themselves apart. It's about living in a way that feels true to their values, about finding satisfaction in the moments they choose to engage with, and recognizing that slowing down is, in its own way, a form of freedom. Choosing to step back from the rush of consumption and savor life's content at a more deliberate pace isn't just a personal preference, it's a way of living with greater intention, authenticity, and clarity.